Vaya con Dios.
Salud.
Something in Spanish. I know that.
Tastes my toothpaste.
You have terrible toothpaste.
This is my toothpaste.
Who you actually use cinnamon toothpaste?
He's like, no, I brush with Fireball like every normal person.
Dun.
He's like, I'm just gonna wing my toothbrush around in a little bit.
Remember when Mom told you not to drink the mouthwash?
I wasn't drinking. I was
There's
just
2
brushing
bottles
my
in the
teeth.
cabinet. And she said to floss with one of them and not the other. Welcome to episode 2 here
Episode 2.
of season 2 podcast.
Season 1.
Well, season 2 including Drake.
Oh.
Season 1 of Trev, I guess.
Talks with Trev.
Trev and Ty and
Talks.
Talks.
with Trev.
Talks with Trev. That's what we... It was off the cuff last week.
I have a
Yeah.
moment for Drake.
He already got
Well,
his moment.
Yeah, that's
He
why we
did
took
have
the
his
shots.
moment. Oh, that is, yeah.
He had a couple
Oh,
moments.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring him on. If you guys want to see Drake, let us know.
Yeah.
He won't respond. He'll say he'll come and then he won't. But that's a call out.
Well, anyways, today it's me, obviously Trevor. We got Tyler again over in the end, and Mr. _ Slingshot here in the middle.
The infamous.
The infamous. Self-made.
Uh,
Actually, Krieg gave me that name.
Did he?
Yeah, that's where that all stemmed from. It
Mr.
actually
Slingshot?
It started off as a joke.
Oh.
And Krieg just started calling me Mr. Slingshot, so I was like,
Okay.
Yeah.
so that's how I ran with it.
Yeah,
I
it
was
works.
Like, all right, fine, I'm Mr. Slingshot.
Yeah.
I wasn't even original enough to come up with that.
Mr. Slingshot. But yeah, anyways, we figured we'd do this because of the recent release of the new
Second
Slingshots.
New and improved.
Yeah.
New
Second gen.
or quite similar Slingshots.
They did a lot of good improvements. Most of it was to the interior, which was definitely needed. The interior on the first gens it's pretty basic.
Yeah, it's a little Spartan.
Yeah, especially like in mine, like mine's a 15, so
Yeah.
like that's like it was still the rubber seats, and a god awful radio.
Yeah,
it's just god.
it looks and feels like a off-roader company was making a on-road car.
Yeah.
You know.
Very side by side.
Yeah.
Just,
They did a lot of refinements like in 2018, like when they introduced like Ride Command and you got navigation and the bigger touch screen and stuff like that, and the seats became a hell of a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But for 2020, seats are a little bit better. They've got, it looks like they have more side bolster to them, and you've got a flat bottom steering wheel now, which a lot of people were doing like as an aftermarket model.
Yep,
for
people
our
like
first
those.
ones. And they integrated a lot of controls on the steering wheel to control like the navigation, the infotainment center, stuff like that, which is also really cool.
Yep.
They did a whole new sweeping dash, and it's so you've got like 2 analog needles on either side, and then you've got a programmable LCD screen in the middle, which is
Oh,
also
yeah,
pretty
kind of like the new Cadillacs.
yeah. So that's pretty cool.
The infotainment screen is bigger too, right?
I believe it.
Same size, or it's just
I
better?
think it's the same size, but this year it's in past years it's always been kind of at an angle. So that angle, you get the perfect view of the sun right in your eye.
Yep.
When you're driving.
Yep.
And it's so perfect that it pretty much renders the entire thing
Useless.
completely useless.
Yep.
Yeah, with the glare.
Nice.
On the 2020, they actually made it flat. And so that glare, and it's recessed a little bit.
They
so
did that
glare
same
is
shit
gone.
with the Camaro, and I don't understand. You sit there, and it's like this.
Right.
And you're like,
yeah, it is kind of
oh, yeah, I can see it.
Right. That should be a pretty vast improvement from
Yeah.
the Slingshot, though. So that's pretty cool. They did put a new engine in it this year. They went to a proprietary engine made by ProStar. It's a 2-liter. It revs out a lot higher. Redline on it now is 8,500. It makes the new R makes a little bit more power than
The old 2.4.
Than the old 2.4. The SL model makes about the same.
Okay.
I think it's within like 3 horsepower of the 2.4. But the new models are a little bit lighter, almost 100 pounds.
Where they shave that weight off?
Smaller engine.
Oh.
Like I would imagine.
Quarter less displacement.
Yeah, I would think the transmission is probably a little bit lighter as well.
Yeah.
They changed the gearing a little bit in the transmission. So it does make less torque and less power down on the bottom end, but with it revving out higher, it still actually will catch and pass a 2.4.
Oh, okay.
Should anyway.
Yeah. Because what the 2.4 rev to in the Slingshot?
Like 65, right?
Yeah, it was like 65,
Just
yeah,
average
65,
2.4.
7, yeah, right in there. Unless you're mine and you're running out to $9,000.
One of the few.
One of the few.
Shift when you get past the little red ticks, right?
Yeah. When the tack stops, do a 5 count.
Yeah,
and
then
shift.
shift.
Right. But so they did a lot of cool stuff. They also have an automatic transmission option this year. And it's actually a computer-controlled manual transmission, which is kind of cool.
Cool, but I feel like,
So
at
it
least
is-
from initial reviews, it sounds like it's kind of wonky.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a handful of videos and of them out there, and a couple of them show it where the guys are just mashing the pedal to the floor and letting it go, and it seems like it shifts really slow.
So it's not like manual, like you don't have
There's
paddle
no
shifters
paddle
or-
shifters.
No paddles, which is odd.
I've heard rumors that they're going to release that for next year.
I would imagine
Whether
that's
that's
probably
true or
something,
not, I don't
some
know.
feedback
But
they
I,
get.
I don't know why you wouldn't in a car like that.
I can't believe they
Think
didn't do
that'd
it
be
on the initial. But
Desirable, but
It's just
Yeah.
some wires, like it's not like the actual paddles are shifting the transmission, especially if it's electronically shifted.
Right.
You just wire it in and say, "Hey, do it."
Right.
so it is like a clutch though. Like it's a
Yeah.
standard
Yeah.
transmission.
It's
Yep.
a just standard gears, clutch, everything. It's just a little robot.
Is that because
imagine is
that's
in
like
there.
how automatic motorcycles work? Is they are
Yeah.
wet clutches that are just automatically
Yep.
Yeah.
done or whatever.
And on the other opposite end of the spectrum, the really baller ass Lambos have electronically shifted
Yep.
manuals.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a little different.
Slightly different. But it should be some good improvements. They are not cheap. You can get they did away with the base model S, which a lot of people bought, and they were doing that
Yeah.
because you end up replacing half the shit on the Slingshot anyway to
Yeah.
make it your own.
Yeah,
style or
most
whatever.
customers do.
So that's what they figured. They were like, "Well, I'm going to replace everything. So I'm just going to buy the."
So, exactly, which
Yeah.
is a smart way to go.
but not smart for Slingshot.
No.
Right. So they dropped the S model. You can still get the base model for 2020, but it's still listed as a 2019.
Yeah.
That will still have the 2.4 liter Ecotech in it. And then also the GT, they are also dropping that one, which was like the one with the roof on it. They're dropping that one as well. You can still get the roofs for the sling shades for them, but they're dropping that as a full GT line. But you can still get it for 20. You can still get it as a 2019. It'll still have the GM power plant driveline in it.
Okay. Yeah.
So for the 2020 with the new ProStar engine, the SL model you can only get with the Autotrans.
Yep.
And then if you want the option to have a manual trans, you have to buy the R, which is the replacement for the SLR. And but I mean, I think that starts at 31.
It's a lot for
Yeah.
It's a lot
Play
for
toy.
a toy.
What was
Yeah.
the old generation like average MSRP when that came out? Do you know?
I mean, the base model was you could pick those up for like 20.
oh, so it's
Yeah,
supposed to be a
that's-
lot more of a thing than
Yeah.
the old ones.
that's
Yeah, you
it's a
could
big
pick
jump.
you could pick those up for 20. I think the SL is this year is 25 starting.
Okay.
And then but I mean, even the SLRs, those were 28 to 30.
Yeah, so
The
similar.
GTs were like 32, 33, but I mean, if you were to get a manual transmission R and then add a bunch of shit like the sling shade and a rear
Color match
fender and
stuff.
color match, all that stuff, I mean, that goes up quick. I mean, there's been a few people online that built them out and they were like 42K. 42K.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, you can buy a lot of cars for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one that I priced out, if we were going to get one, I think it was $34K
34.
was the one that I priced out. But I didn't do anything other than get a Auto Trans R with, and I think I just got a couple different colors on the trim pieces.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it was $34K. I mean, I added on $2K.
That's just
real
basically
quick.
going up to the R is the big
Yeah.
money thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that the SL model being only auto, I doubt many people would do it, but I wonder if it'd be good to look into actually manually swapping the SLs.
Into a manual trans?
Because, I mean, the trans is already there.
Right.
So theoretically, but again, this gets into what's the PCM like, what all that.
Right. And
you know,
the PCM now is different from
yeah.
what it was in the past, because before they were using, it was a GM PCM, but
they, like,
Polaris had the OS written in Mephi 6,
Yep.
which is a terrible OS. It's just archaic. It initially started out in like offshore boat racing type stuff, and it works good for that because you don't really need to do much.
Boats, you're what or not? Like,
Right.
There's some real pissed off boat racers out there.
there's the one guy who's got some big old
Very
cigarette
complicated
boat,
sport.
we love Mephi.
Mephi saved us. So they have that. So now they've got a new PCM. I don't know what it's running yet. I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of my contacts at Polaris, but it appears that it looks very similar to the PCMs that are in like the side-by-sides, like the Razors and stuff.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got.
If it is, that would be kind of cool because Haltech already makes a plug-and-play harness and PCM for the side-by-sides.
Oh.
So I would imagine that it probably wouldn't take a whole lot to adapt it over.
I would
to
imagine
a Slingshot.
they'd be looking into that
I'm
then.
sure,
Probably, yeah.
I'm sure they're probably already looking into it.
I'm sure they've got one on reserve.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they did a lot of cool changes.
You watched the official release too. You were out in California, was it?
It was
Pretty big
it was
deal,
in
or?
it was in Vegas.
Yeah.
It was an invite only kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And there was about, one of the guys told me there was about 225 people, 250 people there.
So,
It was intimate.
yeah.
Yeah.
As far
Was it
as-
like companies or was it like super well-known owners, like customers? A
a
little both.
little of both. It was customers and owners and other like development companies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
They didn't like live stream it or anything like that though. Or?
No, they didn't. Not Polaris did some of the updated stuff on their website while they were doing it.
Okay.
But then there was a lot of people that were there that were constantly feeding photos into the forums and onto the Facebook groups and stuff like that. So it was, even not being there, I didn't really feel like I was missing anything because people were just constantly uploading stuff.
Yeah,
from
you get
the
enough
news
info.
that- yeah.
Well, anyone there wants to be the connection.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. But and they took people out for rides in the new models around Vegas.
That's pretty
and
cool,
stuff like
though.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So, but yeah, I mean, it looked like it was a small, small intimate type thing out in Vegas, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I think Polaris was really smart releasing Autotrans.
Yeah.
It opens up a whole new market for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It opens up a new market for development for us, to see, what the new engine and what the new trans can hold. Would I personally choose an auto? No.
No,
I like
we're
it.
enthusiasts. We.
From a development perspective, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It only makes sense.
You do it for the masses.
Yeah. Yeah, because Polaris thinks, I think I saw something. 50% of the owners would have chosen it Autotrans or potential buyers.
More,
I think
honestly.
I think there's a lot of potential buyers that would do one had they had an
Autotrans
prior.
option, yeah.
I mean, there's not a ton, but there's enough people out there that have done auto conversions on the ones that are on the first gen ones. And those are pretty sweet. I've driven one of them. It was cool. But again, I like shifting.
You just
Yeah.
you lose one connection. and
Yeah,
everything,
it's so odd that it's such a toy. You know, it is a toy. It's a third or fourth car for most people.
Yeah.
And
And it's not a cheap one.
no,
No.
and
Like,
so
it's an expensive toy.
Yeah.
like any of us, we're like, oh yeah, you get a manual.
Right. Right.
There's
Yeah.
just people who don't want to learn or don't. You know,
yeah,
can't.
a big part of it is, you've got a lot of people that can't drive manuals for one reason or another, and a lot of it is, a big part of the market is like crossover motorcycle riders.
Yeah.
And maybe they're getting on an age and, their knees just can't hold up a full-size bike anymore.
yeah.
Whether it's a
Yeah.
Harley or a Goldwing or a full-dress bike, whatever it is, they just don't have the knees for it anymore.
Yeah.
I've even seen a couple guys out there that have gotten hand controls. They're in
pretty cool.
wheelchairs and they get hand controls
That's
out of
pretty
their
sweet,
swing set.
yeah.
It was sweet, real sweet.
Have you ever seen Chair Slayer that goes to Grid Life? He drifts and he's got full hand controls.
No,
Yeah, he.
drifting and
Oh yeah, he
hand
hoists
Super
himself
sweet.
in there, and he's got full hand controls, and he's got the e-brake and everything.
Oh,
and
shit.
oh yeah, it's like he steers, and then he's got like almost like a boat throttle kind of.
Really?
Where you do it like this.
Yeah.
And then so you move it, and then you push it in or out to like modulate the throttle, and then he somehow has a clutch too that he even uses, and he shifts, and like he does everything
That's bananas.
all with no use of his feet.
That's wild.
And he bangs like it's awesome.
That's wild. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Will he be at Grid Life this year?
Yeah, he should be.
I'm going.
All right, just for that.
I plan on going anyway, but that's a good excuse to go.
It's what was I watching where they were drifting a ton of slingshots too? It was out in California somewhere or something, but
I would imagine on a track.
it was like one of those little just like boxed in areas where they just
Oh
do a
yeah,
bunch
so
of
Polaris
donuts.
does that.
Yeah.
So Polaris will do like ride days where they'll set up
Oh,
and
yeah.
come out and get rides with one of the Polaris drivers,
Mm-hmm.
and they set up like almost like a little figure 8 pattern. They
Yeah.
take them out there and they drift around the.
It
figure
seems like
8.
that's like I mean, you have literally 50% traction of a car, so like
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got one
It
wheel,
seems
one
like
drive
it
wheel in
is.
the back.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely easy to drift, but that rear end comes around real damn quick.
so
Like,
it'll
as
do
soon-
donuts really well.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as it starts to come around, I mean, if you haven't already started correcting, like it's just gonna
You're
come
just
around.
done.
Yeah,
You're gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. It's a fun market for me. I like it.
Yeah.
I've had a ton of fun helping develop the market.
Yeah.
The events are always really cool. The people that go to the events are super cool.
It's weird because they're not like car guys, really. It doesn't seem.
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
But they're not like it's
I
not
would
like
say
just
there's-
motorcycle guys either.
Yeah, I would say there's more crossover motorcycle guys than anything else. Tons and tons of guys are like, I traded in my Harley or my Goldwing for one of these. It was just, we were getting out there and wanted something a little bit easier, but we still want to tour around the country and
Yeah.
something.
Something open air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like me and you have talked too about like motorcycles are just getting so hard to drive. Like
Yeah.
there's 1,000 more cars on the road,
Yep.
and like it's just so scary to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sketchy.
Yeah.
I miss riding motorcycles, but driving around an everyday Trev, I
Yeah.
don't know if I want another one.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's a great community, and I really like going to all the events, especially like that guy Bobby that I race against. Super super cool guy. Him and all his friends are super cool. That whole Southern hospitality thing is no joke.
Yeah.
That the Southern hospitality. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. That Southern hospitality is real.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're super cool. You met them, didn't
Yep. Yeah, I met him at Speedfest
you? Yeah.
a few months ago or whatever. Yeah.
Or was it Speedfest or Indy Airstrip?
Indy Airstrip.
Indy Airstrip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But him and Tim and Tim's wife, like all super cool people, super nice, and I really like that. The first year we met, I had broken my slingshot about 20 fucking times before like the midday session was even out there, and he had just driven over to see what we were doing. He was a few stalls down in the pits, and he's like, whatever you need tool-wise, he's like, I got you. He's like, if you're missing something, let me know. You can borrow whatever you want. He's like, I'll be your best friend until we get to the starting line. But he's a super cool guy. I like that guy.
That's actually what someone says when they just have a lot of tools and they want to show off all their tools.
He just wants to roll up the trailer and be like,
Let me roll this up and you can check out.
yeah. No, you can't touch that. No, not that. Not that.
You can use anything you want except for
Nothing in the top shelf glass cabinet.
If it's LED light, don't touch it.
You can't use my robots that work on my car, but you can use my ancient tool.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a hand crank drill you can borrow.
Well, speaking of this year, what do we got here?
Yeah.
That is something Al and I are working on right now. That's this is the new digital dash from Haltech. It's called the IC7. It's kind of the update to their IQ3 race pack that they've been using for years. Super cool. The software to program it is super easy to use, super customizable. It comes with like predefined screens on it already, but in the software you can actually go in and you can change it to read out anything you want. You can change what units it reads in, whether you want it to read in metric or standard.
Yep.
You can choose what you want it to see, whether it's coolant temp, oil pressure, oil temp, boost, whatever you want.
Yep.
And you can put them on any of the gauges anywhere on the screen.
Nice.
You can set pre-limit alarms on it. So I have one that's set to where it displays on the bottom of the screen, engine not ready. And that alarm will turn off once the engine is up to full temp.
Oh,
So you know
that's cool.
So you know not to go beat the shit out of it before it's ready
Yeah.
to rock, which is pretty cool. There's you can set limit warnings. So if I'm not really paying attention and I let that tax slide slightly past $9,000, it'll tell me, it'll start flashing. And,
Yeah.
and it's cool because you can set it to say whatever you want.
Yeah.
So you can,
Yeah, if you want to shift
it'll
at
flash
7
and
or
it'll say
9.
shift asshole.
You can literally say, "Hey, dumbass."
Yeah. So when my shift alarm goes off, it says shift asshole. And I think when it gets to 8,500, it says it's almost time for a new valve train. Almost time for a new valve train.
I mean, would you really listen to it if it didn't swear at you, though? Probably not.
If it asks nicely, you'd
Maybe,
be like, "Yeah,
maybe, but probably not. So it does a lot of really cool stuff. I can't really release any information on the project because it's not the normal setup that most people would use when using a Haltech.
Yeah. I mean, it's a commitment. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing some really big changes, and once we get it finished, it's going to have a huge impact on the Slingshot market as a whole. So it's a pretty exciting project for us, just getting everything lined up. It's really cool. I wish I could talk about it more, but
Yeah.
because I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, we did this, but but there's some really cool stuff going on. We've got a couple different rear exit exhausts in the works.
Yep.
Which is really cool.
Those sound good.
Yeah.
Saw a pretty sweet something today that sounds like might be a
Oh yeah,
potential exhaust.
Keith showed us.
Oh, yeah.
The new tips and stuff.
Yeah, the new tips.
Yeah, the new tips are sweet. I wish we could have gotten that original one to work, but the tip itself is sweet, but it's just not cost effective to manufacture.
Oh.
I think the one I don't even want to call it a realistic quote, but the one quote that we got, it was like $5,000 for tooling, and then I think the tips were going to be like $120 a piece. And there was like a minimum like $300 order.
Oh.
So you'd end up having like $50,000 into this project damn near. And your tips are $100. You'll just never make that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like what? And the tips weren't usable in any of the other stuff we sell. I mean, if they could have been integrated.
Yeah, if you can cross-platform it makes a lot more sense.
If it could have been cross-platform, it would have made sense. But I mean, there's no way we're gonna sell 400 rear. I mean, I would love to sell 400 rear exhausts. But
all right, sign up on the list. If we get 400 people,
group buy.
we'll release this mysterious tip.
Right.
You don't even know what it looks like.
It's just the tip.
Yeah. It is weird to see, though, going off that, like, now that the new one's out and the old ones are essentially in the car world, what we'd consider the old market is now turning into the crossover to track cars, because the new ones are...
There's a slow, steady shift going on. Like when I first got into the market a couple years ago, the main focus of the market was like knick-knack mods.
Yep.
Every knick-knack, doodad, LED
Yeah.
light. Like,
Yeah, we were just talking about this.
Yeah,
that
wings and
paint every
Whatever
part
you
and-
could touch.
Yeah, and color match
powder
everything.
coating.
Yeah, powder coat, color matched everything. In different wraps and stuff like that. Like, that was the main thing. And then you had a very, very small select group of people that were building to go fast.
Yeah.
And now there's kind of a shift happening. I think it's just most people are kind of getting, while there's still tons of new buyers coming into the market all the time. It's
Oh, yeah.
The market is, I mean, it's 5 years old at this point.
Yeah.
So the people that have been in the game since day one, they've kind of done it.
Yeah.
Like, they've got all the roofs that they want. They've got we've all been through at least 4 windshields.
Yep.
You know, different wheels and tires and lights and, you know, underglow, everything.
Yeah.
Like, they've got it and it's been done. So they're like, well, where do I spend my money on it now? And so
I
the
can go
natural
faster?
progression is like, yeah. So now they're looking at, you know, going faster. And a lot of them, they're not afraid to spend money.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a good product. And, you know, you just don't gain a whole lot of power from these naturally aspirated.
No.
So by the time you dump all the money into doing like an intake, a header, an exhaust, and a tune, you're already beyond half of what it costs to do a turbo kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're only going to gain like 10 wheel horsepower.
Yeah, they don't do anything. Like,
No,
it's just,
there's just not a whole lot of bang for the buck
Yeah.
there.
I mean, that's the thing why it's such a big turnoff is you have to take one step before you're even in the
Yeah.
game performance-wise. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
just an NA motor these days just doesn't keep up
No.
unless it's...
No, and the
Yeah.
NA Ecotech's never really flowed well or anything.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
But I mean, you dump a turbo on one of these, and you automatically get a 100 wheel.
and then that
Which is
opens
huge.
up whatever else you want to
Yeah,
do
it's
on
huge.
top
Yeah.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a 100 wheel on something that weighs 1,800 pounds.
That's nuts.
Roughly
yeah.
2,000 with my fat ass. Maybe not this year though.
Maybe not. All that broccoli.
That was such a terrible week. Oh my god. I did notice though that when I did sit down the racing the other day, and normally
Here we go.
when I was slightly overweight, my butt cheeks would hit the side rails.
You had to
And
get the
would-
Crisco out and fucking
They
scrub
would
down.
They
And
would like slide off to the side, and I would slowly just sink down into the seat. And I'm sitting there, I'm embarrassed as shit. Cause I'm like, oh my god, I'm so fat. And I actually sat down in it the other day, and I dropped right in. I'm like, well, maybe the week of broccoli, 3 pounds of broccoli a day was worth it.
Just at an event with 50 people around you, and you just wait.
Right.
1 sec.
I need to slowly slide down into the seat while my fat moves out of the way.
Yeah.
Muffin topping out of a race suit. That's never cute. Nobody wants to
nope,
see that.
nobody wants to see that.
I mean, especially with your jacket and everything.
Well,
and
that's the thing. Like, it gets
Yeah, you're
worse. Like,
full leathered up.
Yeah, like once you put on like the suit and all the other bullshit, like that ain't helping the cause. I mean, you're already too fat for the seat anyway, and then you add all the extra gear. It's terrible. Harnesses are out all the way, and you're still sucking your gut in to try to get them latched. Yeah, trying to get it down into that cam lock.
You're just like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Right.
Let's drive.
you can take those side bolster cushions out and just sand down some of that padding a little bit.
Sand down the foam.
Sand an inch out of there. But
Yeah.
but I fit in it this year, so
That's good.
Well, better than I did last year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not doing another fucking week of broccoli though. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I don't know how you did
There's
that.
so many ways to make broccoli. You know, you can boil it or steam it or
And that's about it.
yeah. That's
I would say you could like bake it and put cheese on it, but then that would defeat the
cheese on
purpose.
it.
You can boil it and blend it, but God, who wants to eat that? Ugh, so bad.
no. That should not be
Almost
liquid
as bad
form.
as I think it was like the third week I was here. I walked into the break room and Al is literally blending a chicken breast to drink, and I'm like,
Zoom does that.
"What do
shit,
you
too.
do?" And he's like, "Oh, I can't eat the calories fast enough, so I'll just drink it." And I'm like, "What kind of monster are you?"
So bad. So gross.
So this year, half mile again, goals 150.
Yeah, because your slingshot, you were saying not many are in the performance thing, but look at your slingshot is It looks not that much different, but you
Yeah.
still have stock wheels on the front too.
Yeah, still have stock wheels in the front. I got a rear drag wheel in the back. I go through about three tires a year, 3 or 4 tires a season. And in Michigan, we've got short seasons.
Yeah, especially for a car you can't.
Yeah.
For a 2-event thing.
Yeah. I went to Maggie Valley last year to do that show for Slingshots in the Smokies, which I'm doing again this year. And I went out there with a brand new tire. Like, still had the little rubber nips on the side of it, brand new.
Sticker, everything.
And that thing was like down to the cords when I got back. And I only went riding for like 4 days.
Oh my gosh!
But
I complain about tires.
Yeah, it
But
was
see,
bad.
the thing, us two, we have to buy 2 every time we do that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
I'd like to start buying 2.
yeah, and that's the big thing is what is your Slingshot? 500-600 horsepower, depending on...
550. It'll probably crest 6 this year.
So what more can you do 2020 on a...
I mean, I'd like to hit. I want to hit 150 on 3 wheels this year. The problem is
Still the big goal?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's stupid, but it's like, when people get infatuated and they're like, I want to make 500 horsepower. And then
But dude, you're at 497. Why? Like, no, I need to make 5.
I need to make 500. Like, they just need that number.
Yeah.
And that's what it is for me. Like, I have to hit 150 on 3 wheels.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be the first one to do it. Now, the next closest guy is still like 4 or 5 miles an hour off.
You're
Which
still
is-
holding the record.
Yeah.
So,
Which
I mean,
is
I'm
a
fairly-
lot for a giant parachute driving
right
down the half mile.
The main problem that I'm running into is, especially if there's any sort of headwind, last year I was in 4th gear at the Indy Airstrip attack, and I was close to the end, and I'm in 4th gear, foot to the floor, and the rear tire ripped loose at 140 plus.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
When there's only one wheel in the back, and it's just like, I'm like, but like that's my obstacle now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, there's just and I had 200 pounds of weight
Yep.
added to the ass end of that thing.
Really?
I added
See, I didn't know
200
that.
pounds of
Those sandbags we got for the tent, we took them off the tent and put them on
Put them in
and I
like
put them
the.
in the slingshot.
No way.
Yeah, I put them in those back cubbies.
Yeah, because I was going to bring that up. I'm like, why not just strap some lead to the back? Because,
Right.
half mile weight doesn't matter as much.
Right.
We tried to see if
it.
Al could hang on to the rope.
Al
Flat behind.
asking if can we just ratchet strap the fat guy to the back? Sure.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. He's gonna hold the GoPro. I broke my mount, so he's the new mount. But that's the problem that I run into. Like, if there's any sort of headwind, I mean, it makes so much power now
Yeah.
that even with those sticky rear tires, like, it just doesn't stick.
And that's the thing. People think, like, you look at a Slingshot on paper and pictures, and you're like, wow, that thing looks like a fighter jet. It must be aerodynamic.
It's not.
No.
No, like polar
Not in the
opposite.
least.
Like,
It's about as aerodynamic as a school bus.
Maybe worse.
Maybe it might be worse. It gets up to like 140, 142 real quick, and then it hits that mark, and then it crawls.
Yep.
That seems to be like the magic. I don't know if it's like that for cars, but on the Slingshot, like, that's 140-ish is like, that's the wall.
Yeah.
And it crawls beyond that.
it's not like you can tuck more or anything like it.
Yeah, like on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, but I'm chasing that dream. But I think
Hey, you were so close. That
so fucking
perfect conditions.
Yeah.
yeah, it was
It's-
so close.
I mean, it's got it in it. It's just
Right.
half mile racing is such a luck thing too.
Yeah,
depending
'cause
on
you
the
have
event and
one
altitude.
day.
You
And,
don't have any control over the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even harder doing it on the runways than it is if it was on like a quarter-mile drag, because you're exposed to all that crosswind, and it's just this giant open field, and you have to fight against
Yeah, you're
everything.
even if you look straight, you're still fighting to keep her straight. And,
I take up that entire damn lane when I'm going down that track.
yeah.
It's like
I've never done it personally. You guys have, but like before I came here, I assumed it was just a longer drag strip.
Right.
And then
No.
I get there and I'm seeing you go down the track, and I was like, oh, that's
No, it's just
That's
pavement.
like a Michigan
Yeah,
back road with potholes in
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Because it's meant for planes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all at airports.
The one thing that I ran into Speedfest last year, because I was running so much faster than the previous year, was they've got at that Battle Creek runway. It's actually one of the nicest tracks that we run at, and I love that event. I'm really upset that they're not doing it this year.
No, that sucks.
So that's unfortunate. But they have to the left of the airstrip, there is like there's spots for like smaller private jets and stuff off to the side. Well, they have taxiways that come across the main strip that we're going down. In a plane, you would never feel it, but there's a very slight hump
Oh, yeah.
that goes over the runway as you're going down it. And I was going down the runway, and one of the guys, Chris, that runs the show down there, he came up to me when I was at the end of the run. He's like, "Is your car running okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's running fine." Why? He's like, "Well, I can hear it. Like as you're going down, it goes." Roar. Well, every time I crested those little humps on the
You're
run
just lifting
strip,
the back.
the rear end would break loose. So that was the thing. Like especially when I was doing like the 145 plus traps during those sessions. I would go over those humps and that rear end would break loose, and then it would sit back down and squat, and it would usually wiggle a little bit, and then it would keep going straight most of the time. But yeah, that was the biggest thing that we ran into in Battle Creek is just that rear end breaks loose. But that's my thing for the half mile stuff. I'm that kid chasing the number.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hate the fact that I'm that guy, but I'm chasing the dream
Yeah, when
at
you're that
150.
close, I don't blame you.
at that drag coefficient too, you were telling me about that. Like when you're hitting that headwind, if you like start to clench a little bit and lift the throttle, your run's over.
done.
Like
Yeah, you
You're
have to
done.
be
you got to wide open the whole thing, or your time
balls of
just-
steel. Just
I did that. Well, that was one of the things at Indy. The rear end started to break loose, and I was right by the finish line. And I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm going for it." So I kept my foot in it, and the rear end started to kick out a little bit. So I start turning so I can keep it going straight. And then all of a sudden, my hands went clink because I've got the wrist restraints on.
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
locked into the cam lock. So like I couldn't turn my wheel anymore than I already had. And I was too scared to let go of the wheel and do one of these. And so it's like it went clink, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I let off the gas.
Put
and-
your knee up and hold the wheel.
yeah,
yeah, 150.
I swear that was my winning run too.
Oh, I'm sure it probably
That
was.
was my winning run. God, I was so pissed. But yeah, I mean, I'm chasing the dream. I'm gonna chase the dream for one more year
Yep.
on 3 wheels, and then in
then
a
the
perfect
question
world, I
everyone's
would
asking.
love to go to a 4-wheel.
Yep.
And I'm sure in the community it's going to negate everything I've done for the last 3 years, but I don't give a shit. I want a 4th wheel back there.
Yeah.
I just think they look cool. I mean,
Yeah, they do look really cool.
I've driven a handful of them. They're an absolute blast to drive. They handle like they're on rails.
yeah. I mean, it's like a street legal sand rail, but like made for grip. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
But I'd like to run a set of like 345s on the rear, something nice and sticky, and just go.
That's a
for
big
it.
wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to fit in a fender, so I mean,
Right, there's no fenders. So I'd like to get a set of the Work CR2Ps in that black asterism color.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
I've been that's kind of been like that was like the first wheel I saw that I was like, "Oh, that's my wheel." But that's the only wheel that I've gotten really excited about, and it's the only one that I keep going back to.
yeah.
They take about 6 months to get that.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yikes.
Just because of the finish, or just that's how bad?
You got to get them right from Japan.
Yep.
Overnight parts from Japan.
So that's what I keep going back to. But
I mean, the slingshot can pull off any wheel. I mean, the car is so crazy that like,
yeah, I would like to do that. Hopefully, we wrap it this year.
Yep.
I'm probably gonna do something fairly basic, black, grays, and whites.
Yeah.
That'll make it easier to match wheels. And,
Choose whatever you want.
Yeah,
Go crazy on the wheels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do whatever I want with it at that point. And then I want to see what it'll do in a half mile on 4 wheels. I'd like to see if I can hit 160, because if I got all that extra grip,
Yeah.
and if I'm pushing 600 plus, I think it should be able to do it. I think it's just going to come down to aerodynamics.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I mean, that's where I want to go, though. Ultimately, I'd like to do a 4-wheel kit, but I got to chase that fucking dream for one more season. I want to do a 4-wheel kit so damn bad at this point. That
They're
I can
just
taste
like,
it,
as far as I've seen anyways, this last year, 2019, is kind of when the 4-wheel thing blew up too, right? Like this is when
I mean,
there's actual multiple companies.
There's multiple companies
Yeah.
now. Like when it first started out, really the only guy in the game, and I think he was the first guy to do it, was Bob Runman from Bullet Speed, who's got a super sexy 4-wheel conversion. He did his, and then his was around for a while, and then last year, a guy named Troy, who is the owner of Trackhammer, which is actually based here in Michigan. He's actually right up in Traverse City.
Oh yeah, I think he mentioned
He's had, I don't think it was released last year, but it got popular last year. He's got a kit called the Trackhammer. Uses a slightly different suspension setup than the Bullet Speed kit. It's a little bit wider. Both kits are super cool. And then our friends down at DF Goblin, they are working on a project right now called the 324.
Yep.
Like 3 wheels or 4 wheels. And they also have a super cool kit that's coming out too. They're using like a full-length coilover on the rear. They're doing some really cool stuff. There's going to be multiple rear ends that you can get in there.
Oh, nice.
I've been talking with Adam quite a bit. I'm really excited to see what they come up with, because so far at this point my biggest concern with any of these 4-wheel conversions is it going to be able to handle the Slingshot?
Yeah. Yeah, the power.
It's a legit concern. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to be able to handle
I mean, most of those guys are running around with 200 horsepower, but
right.
you know, our
Triple
setup
that.
here, and
Yeah, you know, I know our friend Kevin from All Things Slingshot. You know, he's making about 300. He's got a 4-wheel kit on his currently, so I know they'll take that. But yeah, the majority of the guys are anywhere between 175 and 300 wheel.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's not really. Once you get to that 300 wheel spot, there's really the herd thins out.
Well, yeah, 'cause-
significantly.
yeah.
The uses that you can use that,
Yeah.
like anybody just driving around 300,
mine's stupid.
300 wheel is super fun. Like
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fast
yeah.
enough to seem scary, and you'll break the tire loose, but like you're not gonna die.
It's right, and it's still usable.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear the number when there's Hellcats and Mustangs that are
Yeah.
600.
Yeah, you're like
Right,
300 horse.
you gotta factor in the weight.
That's a
Is-
Camry,
yeah,
right.
V6 Camry.
I outran Hellcats this year at the half mile, which was kind of cool.
Yeah,
the gap
it is
on it.
always neat.
Just for bragging rights. But I mean, it's the. I still think my favorite version of our kit is still the Stage 2 Turbo kit on E85. 9 pounds on E85,
Just fun.
so much fun. And I'm not saying that 550 is not fun. It's just, it's so fucking unpractical.
it's fun because it scares you.
Right.
yeah,
right.
like-
And that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to it now, so it's not bad for me, but like anytime I take somebody for a ride, it's almost instantly like white knuckles on the Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But
I remember my first ride in it, all the way to Canada.
oh my god, that was such a long day. in that
3 hours, I think.
For you?
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah, 6
it
for
was
Kyle.
fucking like 8 for me by the time we got back.
Yeah, I went halfway.
That was so bad. Because I was still fat, packed into that fucking race seat all day. I was so bad. Plus, I had to stop every, like...
We should have just swapped seats every.
Right.
Yeah, because the tank's only what, like
The tank's only...
5 gallons?
The tank is 9 gallons.
Oh.
9 gallons.
Yeah, but yours gets like 8.
Slingshot claims, like just shy of 10.
Okay.
But mine only gets, like, 12 on the highway on a good day.
Good old E85.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets like 12 on the highway, so it's like I can go. I would literally had to map it out when Trevor and I left. Like before we left, I'm like, okay, I have to stop here and I have to stop here because
Then there's a big old stretch.
There's a big old gap, and I'm not gonna make it
Yep.
to the next E85 station. So like every 90 miles, I have to stop, which sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
Even when I went to Maggie Valley last year, it was a challenge. I couldn't go. There was one group of guys that went out to Tail of the Dragon one day, and I just I can't carry enough fuel to make that run. We did one run where we went to Cherahalla, and I ratchet strapped a 5-gallon can that I actually filled up into the fill neck.
Into the passenger seat?
Yeah, I ratchet strapped it into the passenger seat, and I filled it way beyond the 5-gallon line.
Yep.
And I brought that with me, and I burned through the full tank, and I literally was sputtering getting back to the fairgrounds, just going to Cherahalla and back.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Ryan went out to Cherahalla in the Camaro, and we made it. I mean, just like the Cherahalla, the main part, we made it out, and we were like, oh, well, we don't know how much is left.
Right.
And I was on E, and I'm like, okay, we need to get back. Little did I know that we were almost to the end, and then there was a gas station.
Yeah, there's
but,
that one gas station down there, but they don't carry E85.
Yeah, I was.
So for me, I was pumped.
Yeah, you
And
were screwed.
I was pretty sure that they weren't going to have it. But I mean, I dumped in that whole tank, and man, we started coming back, and I remember going down the highway, and I'm not familiar with the area, so I really don't know where we're at that
Yeah.
point. And I'm like, I'm sitting here tapping on the thing, hoping that a bar jumps up on the gas gauge, going, man, we're getting close. I don't know.
You're going down hills, and you're shutting it off.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it back. I made it back, but man, I was sputtering it back to where the trailer was to get more fuel. So it definitely poses a problem. In-town driving's even worse. Fuel economy goes down to 8. I got 2 at the half mile.
2 miles a
2
gallon.
miles a gallon. I did the math, and I drove 27 miles during the last half mile.
Okay.
But I went through just shy of 14 gallons of fuel.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Wow.
It's
I'll
bad.
do it.
I'm surprised you had the pride to even calculate that out.
I had to, because I was like, how did I go through this much fuel?
Something's not right.
I'm like, this can't be right.
World's fastest slingshot and world's worst gas mileage slingshot.
Yes.
Yep.
Something to be proud of.
Beat that.
Goals. I get the worst fuel economy ever. Beat that.
Just thinking about all the money we spent on gas and all our stupid cars.
Oh, yeah.
Gas and tires.
Tires.
Tires are
Point of
bad.
contention.
Are tires getting more expensive? They are, right?
I don't know.
It all depends on what you buy.
Every time I look at
I feel like they are, but they aren't.
I mean, those Mickey Thompson drag radials that I ran for a long time, those were fairly moderately priced. I mean, they were $230, $240 a tire.
Yeah, and that's what, a 305?
Yeah,
Yeah,
305,
so that's-
45, 18. But you go to something like a Nitto NT05, and those are almost $400 a pop.
Yep. Yeah, my the
Nuts.
200 treadwear stuff for time attack. A 275 3519 RE71R is $380 for one tire.
That's crazy.
And that won't last me an entire year. So that's why I go affordable and I do the Federals.
Yeah.
Because they're 9/10 as fast. And
Federals are sweet. I'm surprised how sticky those things are.
yeah, and I got 10 or 12 track days and 5,000 miles out of them, all for a set that cost me $580.
Right. I wish I could get those tires in the sizes that I needed.
Yeah, they're limited on sizes,
Yeah, that's the only downfall.
which stinks.
Yeah.
275 is the largest they go, but yeah, tires. Oh,
That's probably
need to-
this got to be one of the most expensive parts.
of just owning a race car, you're saying?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
yeah,
tires?
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it has to be.
Even the fuel in the Slingshot, it's not that bad. I mean, granted, we buy 55-gallon drums of everything, but
Yeah,
I mean, even when you break it down, it's really not that expensive. Its cost per gallon is less than a gallon of premium
yeah.
once you break it down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, tires are so expensive.
Well, and it's too, in terms of competition, it's getting so competitive in every class that, for time attack, you don't even try if you're not running 200 treadway, right? Like,
Oh yeah, you can't.
You're not.
I mean,
even relevant.
you have to be
Yeah. If you're
on a
going
200
for
treadwear,
records, like,
and if you're going for records, you have to be on an RE71R. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And what's odd is that tire compound is so old now that everyone hates it because it greases up fast. You only get like 2 or 3 good hot laps out of it.
Yep.
And they wear down super fast. But if you want to win, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, which is where I think the market's starting to turn, because you've got Nexen, you've got Federal, you've got Achilles, you've got all these tire manufacturers that were like garbage Walmart tires and or only drift spares are starting to make, like Nankang, they're making some really nice tires that again will do 9.5 out of 10 compared to the other ones. Jeez, I'm the worst. And but they're a quarter of the cost.
Yeah.
So I think that's either going to push more manufacturers into lowering their cost, or I don't know. It really seems like the only way to go, because these new guys are going to outsell the old guys. But I don't know. With the newer ones come trade-offs in quality control. You'll get Tim had a set of Federals that chunked up.
Yeah, they just fell apart.
Yeah, just going to dragging them back.
Yeah.
But then I've had really good luck. So yeah, it'll be interesting the next couple of years to see if anybody comes out with anything faster for time attack than the 71R, which Falcon claims they're doing. We'll see this year. But yeah, if anything comes out faster, or if things just get cheaper.
That would be something I want to really get into. Like,
Yeah.
if I end up doing a 4-wheel kit on the Slingshot, I'd like to try to find.
Do you think some place would let you
yeah.
with 4 wheels?
If it's all. After going through the big debacle with the Auto X.
The autocross.
That's we can.
We'll skip
That's
that
another
part.
big
But
thing.
after going through all that, it'll all come down to the insurance that the track carries. But
Yeah.
I think with 4 wheels, I would fall into, I think they call it special category.
Okay,
So
yeah.
whatever it is.
That's like
Similar
kit
to a
cars
kit
or
car,
whatever.
yeah.
What's that?
Like kit cars or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
So
Yeah.
it would fall into that category, and it already, even as it sits, even with 3 wheels, it already exceeds all of the safety requirements that
Yeah.
You need.
require- that
Yeah.
you need.
well, like in your experience, you've still tried to go and they're nope.
Yeah.
It's a motorcycle.
Yeah.
But look at it. It's not.
Right.
It's not a motorcycle.
It's got a car seat in it, and the car.
Yeah.
It's registered as a motorcycle, sure. Which I get. Like
I
you said,
get
it's
it sucks.
insurance
It's
is
like
black
they're
or
not gonna-
white.
They're not going to let you on the
Yeah.
track with the bikes. It's just too big, and you're going to
yeah.
bumper car with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's only got 3 wheels.
Beep beep, bitches.
Coming through. But yeah, I mean, if I can finagle my way into some time attack stuff with it, if we do a 4-wheel kit, man,
That'd be really cool.
I'd really like to get some seat time doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some out there that we've seen videos of them on tracks, like, but it's such a like
It's hit or miss.
buddy
Yeah.
buddy.
Even-
Some
yeah,
people can
yeah.
sneak in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's how I saw it, like with those Vanderhall videos. Like the guy knew the guy running the events. And
Yeah.
let him run the Vanderhall, but
Oh yeah. Yeah, Vanderhall is something too that kind of similar, but not really. Like it's a weird cross between the Slingshot and the Sonic.
Yeah.
And
they're cool. They're fun to drive.
they're neat. They're really cool looking.
Yeah,
I think it's a sweet design.
Yeah,
Vanderhall,
I like
Yeah.
that very iconic, like almost like cafe racer. Type,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That James Dean cool type of look type thing. You drive one though, and like there's definitely, after driving a Slingshot for a few years and then jumping into one of those, and then you get out onto the open road, you definitely feel less protected
Yeah.
driving around in one of those. Like I definitely,
Yeah, there's-
I don't have a problem passing semis in the Slingshot, but like the first time I passed a semi in a Vanderhall, I was like,
I mean, you're in a soapbox car. Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you
it's
can
a-
literally lean out and touch the ground.
yeah, and there's not much to them.
No.
I mean, like you get hit in one of those, it's you're not pass and go or collecting 200.
No.
Like, it's game over at that
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
Is that pretty much like, as far as competition for the Slingshot's doing surprisingly well. I think none of us expected it to last this long, or
Yeah, I mean
Keep
they've
going.
got.
But like as far as other like the Vanderhall is kind of I guess
The Vanderhall
competitor.
would be, because it's another trike.
Yeah.
The Vanderhall would be in there. I'm gonna murder the name real quick, but Campania. They make the T-Rex.
Oh, yeah, the little tiny guy.
Yeah.
Those things are sweet. I don't know if you guys have ever driven one of those, but those things
No.
are those things are sweet.
I haven't seen one in person even.
When they originally came out, they used to come with a Gixxer 1000 engine in them.
Ooh.
Oh,
Why'd they stop?
They switched over to, I think now, and don't quote me on this, but I think they come with a BMW driveline now.
okay.
But when they had the Gixxer driveline in them, they were so much fun. But I've only driven 2 of them.
Huh.
But they're pretty sweet. That would be another really cool thing. But it's such, I mean, you think the Slingshot's a niche market.
Oh, yeah.
Even smaller.
Yeah, I mean, they're so expensive. It's like $60K for the poverty version.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Wow.
Like just to get into one, they're like 60.
The Vanderhall is even priced more than a Slingshot, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean with the new
Are they
ones,
close?
with the new Slingshot, they're starting to level out. But I mean, like, Vanderhall came out with a new one this year called the Carmel, and those are 35-ish. Wow. If you get the roof on it and the full windshield, it's
Way
40.
more.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're not cheap, and it's, for me, it would be even harder to justify because
It's so much less of a
it's
vehicle.
like
Yeah.
you're getting significantly less vehicle for more money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And talk about shoehorning an engine in there. That 1.4 is like
it's wedged
Just-
in there.
Yeah.
wall to wall. Literally the top is touching the air filter. Like
Yeah.
they didn't give much.
And I mean they
I
got
feel like you could have built it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it a little larger. I don't
and
know.
they got the intake tube that just like it comes off the engine and then it snakes up the like in between the frame rail and
Yeah.
the outside of the bike, and it's just there's just enough to get the hood cover back on.
Yep.
I'd love to see some temps with that hood cover on, like
Somewhat.
temperatures,
underhood temps.
underhood
Yeah.
temps. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I'd
INT's
like to
probably
see
not
some
very good.
fucking hood hinges for those hoods. That's what I'd like
yeah.
to see.
Yeah, and who thought of that? Oh yeah, we got to take the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Leave it over here.
How should we put the hood on? I don't know. Just screw it to the side of the bitch and we'll worry about that later.
It was like it was their last step. They're like, wow,
Yeah.
this looks really cool. How do you get it off?
I don't know.
I don't know. Screw it on.
It's held on with 8 bolts, so let's just leave the 8 bolts on there. It's only 8. It's fine.
It's 2020. People don't change their oil anymore.
No, no. Just like whoever was the head designer at GM for the Solstice hardtop. They're like,
yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
we got this really cool convertible. Let's make it a hardtop. Yeah, that'll look really good. Mm-hmm. Oh shit, where do we put the top? Just leave it at home.
Yeah.
We
Like-
could flip it back like a Miata S2000, or we could use the little tiny trunk and completely obliterate it.
Yeah.
And just
Nope, it was okay. Well, you have to drive with the roof on, or you have to leave the roof at home and hope
Right.
that it never rains.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways,
Appreciate it. Talks with
Yep.
Trev season
Thanks
2.
for coming on.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys having
you
me.
and both you
Anytime.
guys. It's cold here, so we can't drive our cars.
No.
But
I'm gonna have to drive the Slingshot to test out that new product soon.
yeah,
It's gonna be a frosty ride. If you want to come along.
yeah, we're more related than ever now that I have the Sky. You know,
Yeah.
pretty close. Yeah. Anyways, end of this one.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Stay tuned for the next one.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Peace.